Hello, it's Holmes, and I want to talk to you today about that feeling that you've got too many tabs open inside of your head. And I know what that feels like. I totally know what that feels like. And like your computer, everything starts to slow down a little bit. When you have got too much going on inside your head, no matter how quick and super duper the processor that you have, it doesn't quite work as it should if there are too many tabs open. And ultimately, like your iPhone, you're going to end up in that position where it goes storage full and you're going to end up not being able to do anything else. It's going to be like your clarity just disappeared off and it's replaced with a huge haze of fuzziness. And your storage is full because you forgot to name and claim the ideas in your head, let alone starts to bring together a bit of a filing system for them. Now, this is really important because if you have a whole stack of ideas sat in your head and you aren't processing them ideas, then you can't action those ideas and the storage gets full and then you don't have any more ideas and then you get really frustrated and then you feel overwhelmed and before you know it, it's just like poof. So how can you start to actually look at processing these ideas? Well, I am a huge, massive advocate of the written word, and I think that there is so much power in the pen. And it's about looking at ways that you can start to capture ideas and stuff that you want to implement, how you can start to unpick stuckness and things that are getting in your way and allow your mind to run free but capture all of the things that are coming up and the thought threads that arise. And a thought thread is one of those things where you think, that's a little bit of an idea, but it's going to need pulling. Like any thread, when you're pulling it and it starts to unravel, and your thought threads are a little bit like that, so you can start to unravel the whole thought process and you can start to unravel some magical ideas if you can pull on that thread. So is that journaling? Is journaling lame? Well, I know that lots of people talk about journaling and it feels like one of those things that you should do. It feels like one of those things that, again, you can stick it on the list of stuff that you think you should do, but you're going to beat yourself up about not doing. Well, that doesn't have to be the case because journaling doesn't have to have the whole stack of rules behind it that you might think it needs. Lots of people say to me, if you are going to look at journaling, don't you have to get into a routine of journaling? Doesn't it have to look a certain way? Doesn't it have to be a certain way? Well, actually it doesn't. It doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't have to come together in a routine. Lots of people say I'll have to get into the routine of doing it. It doesn't have to be done every single day. I advocate that you take pen to paper regularly because I think that it is important that you allow your ideas to come out. And I totally agree with the fact that, you can start to process those ideas. If you want to do it every day, then that's absolutely dandy. But use that as a carrot and not a stick, and it doesn't have to be done in a certain way, and it doesn't have to have stacks of rules attached to it, and it doesn't have to be anything that feels wrong. Get hold of a journal, get hold of a pen, because there's power in that pen, and allow those ideas to come out without the stacks of rules and the stacks of obligations. Write down what comes out of your head and let it out. Free flow. And this isn't a time to sit and, be in judgment of the ideas that are coming out. This isn't a time for you analysing all of the ideas that come out. That can come later. Just let the ideas download so that you have got a little bit more brain space, so that those ideas are safe, so that you're not constantly fretting about the fact that you might lose those ideas, that they might disappear, that they might naff off somewhere. And, I always advocate that you work with one notebook at a time. So many of my Rockstars will say to me, I've written down something about that, but I don't know which notebook I wrote it in. And that's why it's really important to really look at working with one thing at a time. I use one notebook for me and my business. I use one notebook for client calls. Then I've got my phone for when I'm out and about, so I can add a little note in my phone when I'm out and about if I've had an idea that I can process later. And then I've got also an online system that I use to store some of the ideas that I'm starting to bring together and starting to implement. So use one notebook at a time. Don't make it hard. Don't have stacks of places to find your notes. As always, the mantra with this one is simple but significant. Whatever you do, don't have loads of bits of paper either. You know, bits of paper that are just everywhere and you just don't know where to find the thing that you wrote down. You know, start to bring it together so that it makes sense, so that it's easy for you to find. Once you've downloaded things from your head, then you can work through your notes with a highlighter pen. You can capture the good stuff. You can create to-do lists of the things that you want to do. You know, sometimes as well, I pop elements of my notes in what I refer to as a nest. And nesting an idea is about the fact that it's not right now, and it's something that needs a little bit more time before it hatches. So there's some things that I kind of put to one side and I pop them in the nest, and I know that, you know, other things are going to come from them, and they're going to grow, they're going to continue to evolve, and they're things that I can come back to later. So I can nest off stuff as well. But what's important is that you are actually taking action from the notes that you are bringing together, because, you know, again, another pointless exercise, a little bit like, you know, when people go into this big huge planning mode and they do stacks and stacks of planning, but they have no intention of ever implementing those plans, or, you know, they're plans that they're never going to look at. The Rockstar Journal might help you. Not a big sell here, but if it is for you, it's a big fat chunky monkey, and it has loads and loads and loads of places to write. It's really designed for free flow journaling, but there's also the ability to capture your ideas, and there's also periodically the to-do lists in there, so that you are actually actioning those ideas. Because again, you know, whether they're stuck in your head or whether they're stuck in a notebook, if you ain't going to do anything with them, then you ain't going to do anything with them. And the point of having ideas is to then be able to take them and implement them, because there's gold in there. And you don't want to sit with it, you know, just sat in a notebook and, you know, being worried that it won't do anything. So nest off what you need to, crack on with the stuff that you can start to work on, the stuff that you do want to start to work on. Another great use of, you know, the written word and starting to write things out is getting over resistance and blocks. So if you've ever decided to go all in with something and then ended up with stumbling blocks and stumbling blocks and stumbling blocks, sometimes you feel like, you know, the universe is trying to test you. Sometimes you go, oh, well, it can't be for me then. You know, you then start a little bit of self-sabotage, a little bit of ego stepping in, and it goes, oh, well, you know, you're not all in, are you? Look, you're going to be a failure, you're going to look foolish, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And, you know, lots of self-talk can start to come in. And writing down blockages and interrogating them is a great way of doing it. And I've got a little exercise in here, you know, about treating blockages like a toddler. So let's just see if I can grab it quickly on the go. On the hoof. The toddler principle. A is for getting to the bottom of why you're resisting something and why you aren't doing what you need to be doing. I'm not doing this thing, whatever that is. Why? Write down what comes up. Why? Write down what comes up. Why? Write down what comes up. And keep asking it why until you get to the absolute bottom of that resistance. Another great way is a game of truth or big fat lie, and we've also got one of those in the in here too. We've got a couple of those in that I'm a flipping rock star, the journal, that allows you to write down all of your self-talk and ask yourself, is it the truth or is it a big fat lie? So truth or big fat lie, and it's got the page numbers, so it's dead easy to find. So if you're thinking, oh God, my head's full of self-talk and I don't know, you know, is it the truth? Is it a big fat lie? You know, you can write down what is the self-talk fairy saying to you, and then come back to it. Is it the truth or is it a big fat lie? Is it something that you need to work on, or can you just let it go because it is a great big fat lie? And I think that, you know, when you look at the power of the written word, when you look at journaling without all of the rules attached to it, it is so good for business. And I've worked with some gorgeous rock stars where it's been the difference This has been the difference between them having stacks in here that they could possibly do to actually implementing them and making money out of them. So that's just a little look at the power of journaling in your business, but also, you know, why it doesn't need to have all of those rules. It is about doing it your way. And I've popped a link in the description that'll get you through to this if you are interested in grabbing the I'm a Flipping Rockstar, the journal, because that might also help you to uncover some great ideas and to get unstuck. So I'll speak to you soon.